The laughter started with one careless glance. A faded brown jacket with worn sleeves, patched elbows, and a broken zipper became the reason an entire room judged a man they knew nothing about. No one noticed the quiet strength in his eyes. No one saw the scars hidden beneath those old clothes. But within the next hour, every person in that luxury building would discover that the humble single father standing at the entrance had once survived battles most people could never imagine. Sometimes the strongest people wear the oldest jackets because they carry memories instead of pride. And on that ordinary sunny morning, one arrogant bodyguard was about to learn a lesson that would change his life forever. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and never judging someone by their appearance, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Vektor Media. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories that remind the world kindness still matters. The bright morning sun reflected from the glass walls of one of the city's most exclusive business towers. Luxury cars lined the entrance while executives, investors, and celebrities walked confidently through the revolving doors. Among them stood a quiet man named Rowan Mercer. His jacket looked at least 15 years old. The fabric had faded from years of use, and one sleeve had been carefully stitched by hand. Beside him walked his 8-year-old daughter, Nora, whose cheerful smile made the old clothes seem almost invisible. She held a small paper bag containing a handmade birthday card she had spent all week creating. Life had not been gentle with Rowan. 5 years earlier, he had buried his wife after she lost her battle with illness. Since that painful day, he had raised Nora alone. Every morning began before sunrise. He prepared breakfast, packed school lunches, worked long hours repairing machinery for small businesses, and still found time every evening to help with homework, cook dinner, and read bedtime stories. Money was always tight, but love was never in short supply. Few people knew Rowan's past. Before becoming a father, he had spent nearly 2 decades serving as a Navy SEAL. He had completed dangerous missions across the world, rescued innocent lives, and watched close friends make the ultimate sacrifice. Those years left scars on both his body and his heart. After retirement, he chose a quiet life, never speaking about medals or heroics. To him, being Nora's father was the greatest mission he would ever have. That morning, they had been invited to deliver Nora's birthday card to her art teacher, who had recently accepted a leadership position inside the prestigious building. The teacher had encouraged Nora's artistic talent during the darkest days after her mother's passing, giving the little girl confidence when grief had nearly stolen her smile. Rowan wanted to thank her personally. As they approached the entrance, a tall bodyguard named Victor Hale stepped forward. His expensive black suit looked flawless. His polished shoes reflected the sunlight, and his confident expression carried an air of superiority. He quickly looked Rowan up and down before his eyes settled on the old jacket. The corners of Victor's mouth curled into a mocking smile. Several nearby employees noticed his reaction. Without even checking the invitation, he quietly made sarcastic remarks about people trying to enter places where they clearly did not belong. Some workers laughed nervously while others looked away in embarrassment. Nora lowered her head, clutching her father's hand a little tighter. She had heard those kinds of comments before. Children at school sometimes wondered why her father never wore expensive clothes like other parents. Rowan remained calm. Years of military discipline had taught him that anger rarely solved anything. He simply explained they were expected by someone inside the building. Victor dismissed the explanation almost immediately. The bodyguard believed appearances revealed everything about a person. In his mind, a man wearing a patched jacket could never have legitimate business inside one of the city's wealthiest offices. The delay continued. More visitors walked past them without questions. Nora's excitement slowly faded into disappointment. Rowan noticed tears beginning to form in her eyes, and that hurt him far more than the insults directed toward himself. While they waited, an elderly janitor quietly swept the nearby sidewalk. He recognized Rowan almost immediately but remained silent. 20 years earlier, the janitor had served beside Rowan during a dangerous overseas operation before an injury forced him into early retirement. He remembered Rowan risking his own life to carry wounded teammates through enemy fire. The old soldier could hardly believe that the fearless warrior now stood patiently accepting public humiliation simply to protect his daughter's feelings. Before the janitor could step forward, a black SUV suddenly stopped at the entrance. Security officers immediately straightened their posture. Out stepped retired General Adrian Cross, now serving as chairman of a National Veterans Foundation. He had come to attend an important fundraising meeting inside the building. General Cross noticed Rowan from across the entrance. His eyes widened with disbelief. Without hesitation, the decorated general ignored every executive waiting to greet him and walked directly toward the man wearing the faded jacket. Everyone nearby watched in complete silence. The respected general extended both hands before embracing Rowan like a long-lost brother. His voice carried genuine respect as he welcomed the retired warrior, asking why he had never answered invitations to veterans' reunions. Rowan smiled modestly, explaining that raising Nora always came first. Confusion spread across Victor's face. The executives exchanged puzzled glances. Who was this ordinary-looking man receiving such honor from one of the nation's most respected military leaders? General Cross proudly introduced Rowan as one of the bravest retired SEALs he had ever commanded. He briefly described impossible rescue missions that had saved dozens of lives, emphasizing that Rowan had never once sought recognition afterward. Every medal he earned remained locked away in a simple wooden box because he believed true service needed no audience. Silence replaced every earlier laugh. Victor suddenly remembered every mocking word he had spoken only minutes before. Embarrassment washed across his face as reality settled heavily on his conscience. For the first time that morning, he truly looked beyond the old jacket. He noticed Rowan's calm posture, the quiet confidence, the weathered hands marked by years of sacrifice, the protective way he stood beside Nora. Those details spoke far louder than expensive clothing ever could. General Cross warmly invited Rowan and Nora inside, personally escorting them through the grand entrance. Employees who had ignored them moments earlier respectfully stepped aside. Some lowered their eyes, ashamed of their earlier assumptions. Victor remained frozen near the doorway. His pride had collapsed under the weight of a simple truth. He had judged a hero by a piece of worn fabric. As Rowan slowly walked past him, he offered no words of revenge, no harsh criticism, and no look of triumph. Instead, he simply nodded, politely before continuing toward the elevators with his daughter holding his hand. That quiet act of grace hurt Victor more deeply than any angry response ever could. Inside the building, Nora looked up at her father with shining eyes. She finally understood something that would stay with her forever. Greatness was never measured by money, fame, or expensive clothes. It was measured by character, sacrifice, and the kindness someone showed when they had every reason to be bitter. Neither Rowan nor Nora realized that this unforgettable morning was only the beginning. Before the day ended, Victor would face a challenge that no amount of physical strength or professional training could solve alone. And the only person capable of helping him would be the very man he had mocked because of an old jacket. The afternoon sun poured through the towering glass windows, filling the elegant lobby with warm light. Business meetings continued as if nothing unusual had happened. Yet Victor Hale could not focus on a single task. The image of Rowan Mercer, calmly walking past him without anger or revenge, kept replaying in his mind. For years, Victor had believed expensive suits, polished appearances, and powerful titles revealed a person's worth. That belief had shattered in only a few minutes. Rowan and Nora spent the next hour visiting Nora's former art teacher. The woman was overwhelmed by the handmade birthday card and the little girl's heartfelt words. She remembered the frightened child who had once struggled to smile after losing her mother. Seeing Nora laugh again felt like a victory far greater than any professional achievement. Rowan quietly thanked her for never giving up on his daughter during the darkest chapter of their lives. To Rowan, kindness shown to a grieving child could never be repaid. As they prepared to leave, a loud crash echoed through the building. Panic swept across the lobby. People began shouting as a heavy, decorative lighting structure loosened above the entrance after maintenance equipment accidentally struck its support. Guests froze in fear. Parents instinctively pulled their children closer. Security officers rushed forward. But confusion spread faster than orders could be given. Victor immediately sprinted toward the danger. His training told him to secure the area, but the situation changed within seconds. a frightened little boy, slipped away from his mother and stood directly beneath the unstable structure. Before anyone could reach him, another support cable snapped. Without thinking about himself, Rowan moved. Years of military training returned in an instant. His body reacted before his mind had time to calculate. He reached the child, lifted him clear of danger, and rolled across the polished floor just as the massive structure crashed down behind them. Glass shattered across the entrance. Dust filled the air. The sound echoed throughout the building before complete silence followed. When the dust settled, everyone stared. The little boy was unharmed. Rowan shielded him with his own body, taking the impact of flying debris across his shoulders and back. Small cuts covered his hands, yet his first concern was making sure the frightened child was safe. Victor hurried toward him, helping him stand. Only then did he notice fresh blood soaking into the sleeve of the same old jacket he had mocked earlier. The patched fabric had protected Rowan once again. Emergency responders quickly arrived. Doctors examined Rowan and confirmed his injuries were minor. The rescued child's parents broke down in tears, unable to find words strong enough to express their gratitude. News of the rescue spread through the building within minutes. Executives, employees, and visitors who had witnessed the morning's humiliation now saw the complete truth. The humble single father had risked his own life, without hesitation, for someone he had never even met. General Adrian Cross watched quietly from nearby. None of Rowan's actions surprised him. During his years as a SEAL, Rowan had always been the first to protect others and the last to think about himself. Retirement had never changed the man he truly was. Victor stood silently before Rowan. For the first time in many years, pride disappeared completely. His voice shook as he admitted how ashamed he felt for judging someone by appearances. He confessed that he had allowed clothing to blind him to character. He expected Rowan to reject the apology after everything that had happened. Instead, Rowan smiled gently. He explained that everyone makes mistakes, but true strength is shown by admitting them and choosing to become better. Holding on to anger would teach Nora the wrong lesson. Forgiveness, he believed, was another form of courage. Those simple words changed Victor forever. In the weeks that followed, he began volunteering with local veterans organizations. He visited homeless shelters, helped struggling families, and treated every visitor who entered the building with equal respect, regardless of their appearance. Whenever someone complimented his kindness, Victor quietly remembered the man in the old jacket. Months later, the Veterans Foundation held a community ceremony honoring everyday heroes. Rowan refused to stand on the stage alone. Instead, he invited Nora to stand beside him because she had given him the greatest reason to keep moving forward after losing his wife. When Rowan finally spoke, his message was simple. He said life will eventually take away comfort, success, and even the people we love. But no one can take away our ability to choose kindness. Clothes wear out. Money comes and goes. Titles disappear. Character is the only thing that remains when everything else fades. The audience rose to its feet. Many wiped tears from their eyes. Victor applauded longer than anyone else. Later that evening, as father and daughter walked home beneath the golden afternoon sky, Nora slipped her small hand into Rowan's. She quietly told him she never wanted him to replace the old jacket. When Rowan smiled with surprise, she explained that the jacket reminded her that heroes do not always wear medals or expensive clothes. Sometimes they wear patched sleeves, carry lunchboxes, fix broken machines, and still find enough love to save strangers. Rowan looked toward the setting sun and felt something he had not experienced in years. Peace. Not because people finally respected him, not because they discovered he had once been a SEAL, but because his daughter had learned the lesson he hoped would guide her for the rest of her life. The old jacket remained hanging by the front door of their small home. It was never valuable because of the fabric. It was valuable because it carried the memories of sacrifice, resilience, humility, and unconditional love. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that kindness is far more valuable than appearances, please like this video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, share it with someone who needs this message today, and subscribe to Vektor Media so together we can continue spreading stories that inspire compassion and second chances. Special request. Before this story ends, please comment "Character Matters" to honor every humble hero who quietly changes the world. without expecting recognition. And remember, the strongest people are often the ones who never need to prove their strength. They simply choose kindness when the world gives them every reason not to. That choice can change a life, a family, or even a stranger's future forever.